Nick.
No problem. Okay, thank you. Good morning, everybody. I hope you're well. My name is Nicola Taylor, and I am the Chief Operating Officer here at ScotlandIS. For those of you who don't know who ScotlandIS are, we are a membership organisation who essentially act as a cluster management organisation as well, and we act as the kind of trade body for the tech sector here in Scotland. Just over a year ago, we launched our series of ScotlandIS Tech Tidbits, which take place on the first Tuesday of every month at 11:30. These sessions last 30 minutes and are designed to educate you in areas that you may want to know more about, encourage you to innovate with your newfound knowledge, and potentially collaborate with the hosts. So today's session will be a presentation followed by a Q&A, and we would ask that any of the questions that you might have be placed in the chat box, and I'll facilitate those for you at the end. So today's session, what's it about? AI is no longer a future bet. It's shaping how we build products, serve customers, and run operations today. But most teams hit the same walls: fragmented data, unclear ownership, and access controls that don't match the risk. Today, I am delighted to be joined by Stephen Murphy, Enterprise Account Manager at Quest. And in this session, he's going to cut through the noise and show practically how to get your data foundation ready for AI. So without further ado, Stephen, it's over to you.
Thanks a lot, Nick. I'm Stephen Murphy, Enterprise Account Manager here at Quest Software. I have worked in IT now for over 30 years, and I've been part of Quest for almost 5 years now. I started in backup and recovery, and now I am part of our data and AI team here in the UK. So I work with organizations across various industries, and the pattern's always the same. Everyone's excited about AI, but very few are actually ready for it. What I want to do today is share some real world stories, the good, the bad, and the funny, to help you think about where your business really stands when it comes to AI readiness. So, okay, here's the obligatory corporate slide, the one with all the big numbers and the percentages. So I promise this isn't a sales pitch, but I do want to take one thing. I want you to take one thing away from this today. I've had a front row seat with some of the biggest organizations in the world as they try to get AI ready. And the funny thing is, no matter how big or small, they all run into the same problems. So don't worry if you're sitting there thinking our data's a mess or we're not ready for AI. You're in very good company. The Fortune 500 are in the same boat. So this slide looks like a product menu. Don't worry, I'm not going to rattle through it line by line. The simple truth is, if you want AI to work for you, you need three things in order. First, data you can actually trust. Otherwise, AI is just guessing with bad ingredients. Second, cybersecurity that holds up, because AI won't help if someone's already inside your system. And third, modern platforms, because legacy kit is like trying to stream Netflix on a VHS player. It just won't work. So that's it. Those three pillars are the difference between AI being useful or being a very expensive experiment. As we can see here, AI is transforming our world at an unprecedented pace, and the shift is accelerating. McKinsey highlights that companies are now at a real inflection point. Decisions made today around AI will define their competitive position for the next decade. By 2028, Gartner expects at least 15% of all day-to-day work decisions to be made autonomously by AI. That's up from virtually zero just a few years ago, a massive leap. And the organizations that already have AI-ready data are seeing a 20% improvement in business outcomes, according to Gartner's 2025 survey. It's not just about productivity either. Even cybercrime has evolved into what's now considered the third largest economy in the world, growing 15% annually and heavily leveraging AI. Finally, when we look at the AI software market, it's projected to continue double-digit growth year on year, crossing over 300 billion by 2027. So the takeaway is clear. AI isn't a future trend anymore. It's reshaping markets right now, and the winners will be those who act early and prepare their data and strategy accordingly. So here's the reality check. Everyone's excited about AI, but almost nobody has the foundations in place. 99% of AI projects run into data quality issues, which basically means if your data's a mess, AI will just make a bigger, faster mess. Garbage in equals garbage out. 86% of companies had an AI-related security incident last year. Hackers love AI as much as boardrooms do. The difference is hackers are usually quicker to adopt it. 80% of companies faced security risks from unmanaged devices. That's a polite way of saying someone's logging onto your systems from their kid's iPad and you don't even know about it. So the kicker is we're now looking at around 180 zettabytes of sensitive data in 2025, 3 times what we had in 2020. So the stakes aren't just higher, the whole game is bigger. Now, before diving deeper into AI adoption, it's important to pause and ask, are we actually ready for AI? First, do you know your data trust score? AI is only as good as the data it's trained on. If your data isn't trusted, governed, or complete, then any AI output will be unreliable. Having trust models in place ensures your business can make confident, data-driven decisions. Second, do you know who's accessing your enterprise? Visibility and control are critical. Who has access to what? Are permissions being regularly reviewed and updated? Without strong governance, even the best AI strategy can open up serious security and compliance risks. And finally, are your platforms ready for AI? Many organizations are still running on legacy Microsoft environments that weren't built when AI workloads were in mind. Modernizing your platforms ensures you can actually deploy AI effectively and securely. So these 3 questions, trust, access, and readiness, form the foundation for any successful AI initiative. If your answers were maybe, and definitely not, congratulations, you're like most enterprises I work with. So this slide looks busy, but the message is actually pretty simple. AI success isn't one big leap, it's a journey with stages. First, you need data readiness. That means modeling it properly, cataloging it, and actually knowing what you've got. Then comes data platform readiness, making sure your databases and platforms can move and scale without falling over. Only then do you get to AI readiness, building trust scores, monitoring for drift and bias, so your data isn't quietly sabotaging your results. Once you've got that foundation, you can build trusted data products. Think of them as ingredients that can be safely used for reports, large language models, or AI workflows. And finally, the fun bit, agentic or autonomous AI. when trusted data fuels agents that can make decisions and take actions. So instead of chasing the shiny AI stuff right away, the smarter move is to build step by step, crawl, walk, run. That's how you get AI that's not just flashy, but actually useful as well. So when it comes to cybersecurity in the AI era, you need to think in 3 stages: prevention and preparedness. This is like locking your doors, checking your windows, and making sure you've got smoke alarms. It's the basics: assess your security posture, protect the critical assets, patch what needs patching, and back things up properly. Response: because even if you prepare perfectly, something will get through. Here it's about detecting threats fast, containing them, and knowing how to triage and investigate. Think of it like having a fire extinguisher. You don't want to use it, but you better know how. And then we've got recovery. This is where most companies fall down. It's about how quickly you can bounce back, cleanly and confidently. Recovery isn't just getting the lights back on, it's making sure the malware didn't hitch a ride back in with you. So in plain English, lock your doors, know how to fight a fire, and be ready to rebuild the house if you have to. That's resilience. Let's talk migration. Nobody gets excited about it. It's the plumbing of IT. But here's the thing, without a solid migration and modernization, AI simply can't run. There are 3 phases here that matter. Pre-migration. This is the due diligence phase. Inventory what you've got, scope it, plan it, assess the risks, make sure backups are in place. Basically, measure twice and cut once. The migration itself, moving from source to target platforms, whether it's Microsoft 365, Active Directory, or collaboration tools. This is about getting to a place where your systems can actually support modern workloads. And then post-migration, here's where the real value comes in, being cyber resilient. It's not just about moving stuff, it's about emerging stronger with better identity protection, better detection, faster recovery, and proper governance. So migration isn't just about housekeeping. Done right, it's the bridge between the old world and the AI-ready world. So here's the classic logo slide. We work with over 90% of the Fortune 500, which is great, but I'm not saying this to boast. What I want you to take from this is even the biggest organizations in the world with all the money, all the resources you could imagine, they struggle with the same issues we've been talking about today. Bad data, outdated systems, security blind spots. So if you feel your company isn't ready for AI, you're not behind, you're just in very good company. The same company as all of these logos. I'll keep this one quick because I promise not to turn it into a sales pitch. The only reason I'm showing this is to make one point. AI isn't just a buzzword, it's an area of serious, sustained investment across the industry. At Quest, for example, we've put $350 million behind making sure our tools are AI ready and future-proofed. Why should you care? Because it means the ecosystem you're building on isn't standing still. Vendors, partners, and platforms are all putting real money and R&D into solving the problems we've been talking about today. Trusted data, governance, and cybersecurity. So the takeaway isn't look at Quest. The takeaway is you can have confidence that the tools you choose won't leave you stranded 5 years down the line. So let me show you this real world example. Bell Canada they're one of the largest telecom companies in North America. More than 100,000 user accounts. They've got a huge attack surface, constant a target for cyber threats. Their challenge was pretty simple. If you've got an IT ecosystem that size, you can't afford downtime. You also can't afford outdated protocols or weak identity governance. The way they tackled it offers 3 lessons for anyone. Number 1, improve security by eliminating legacy risks. Number 2, reduce the attack surface by cutting out what you don't need. And number 3, focus on resilience. Assume something will go wrong and plan for rapid recovery. Now, in Bell's case, Quest was the partner that delivered it, but the key takeaway isn't the vendor. The key takeaway is if the biggest companies in the world are still wrestling with these basics, then getting your foundations right is the smartest investment you can make. Here's another real-world example, Holcim, a global building materials company with 40,000 employees. When 2 major companies merged, they suddenly had 31 different Active Directory domains. Now, think about that for a second. 31 different sets of doors, windows in their environment. Each one is a potential point of compromise. The lesson? The more complexity you have, the bigger your attack surface. Holcim's approach was to consolidate down, streamline their environment, and make security manageable again. The result was a more controlled and efficient environment, no downtime during migration, and far fewer doors for attackers to try. Or, as one of their team put it, if you have more AD domains, you'll have more security issues. It's that simple. So to finish off, let me leave you with 3 things to think about for your own organizations. Assess your data readiness. Ask yourself if you really trust your data and if you can measure that trust. Secure your foundation. AI won't forgive weak identity governance or outdated infrastructure, so these need to be watertight. And accelerate time to value. Start small, modernize step by step, and focus on projects that actually deliver impact quickly. So AI isn't magic. It's only as good as the data, the security, and the platforms underneath it. If those foundations are shaky, no algorithm in the world is going to save you. The good news is if you don't have to fix everything at once. Start small, get your data trustworthy, tighten up who has access to what, and modernize where it counts. Suddenly, AI becomes a lot less scary and a lot more useful. So hopefully this gave you a clearer, more practical view of what AI readiness really looks like. Thank you for your time. I'd like to open up to any questions or any data AI challenges you'd like to discuss.
Thank you, Stephen. That was great. So we do already have a couple of questions in the chat here. So that means I can keep mine to one side for now. So first question is, what about AI-driven data quality tools to accelerate time to value?
Okay, well, Quest, we have over 200 software solutions at the moment. I came from our data protection backup and recovery team, and I've moved into our data and AI team. Now, one of the main solutions that we talk about here at Quest, and it's one of the solutions that we've invested the $350 million in, Erwin Data Modeler and Erwin Data Intelligence. So our Erwin solution, it helps increase the speed to adopt your data for AI. It'll help it'll help model your data and govern the data as well. And we actually use the scoring on Erwin as well. So it'll give your data a score before you make that AI journey. So it's certainly something I can discuss this offline, but being in the data and AI team, the Erwin data modeling solution really seems to be market leading right now for Quest.
Yeah, thank you. I think there's possibly, I don't know whether there's another question or a comment coming from that, but I'll ask the next question in the chat just now. So potentially a follow up for you as well there, Stephen. Next question though is, what's a credible way to attribute business value to AI when many gains are indirect?
Oh, that's a very good question. It's something our Erwin Data Intelligence Suite is very good at. That'll actually show you, it'll measure your data quality, your lineage, your bias and drift, and it'll give you a score, and it'll tell you how good your data is before you make that jump. Erwin Data Intelligence, it also gives you a score, but it will give you a bronze, silver, or gold level of your data. So again, it's a very visual piece of software that I would like to maybe show on another call. So that's maybe something again I can dive deeper into. We usually have our sales engineers on any demo calls as well, so they can drill a little bit deeper into the workings of these solutions. But that's definitely something we can get back to as well.
Okay, thank you, Stephen. So you kind of touched on throughout the presentation that kind of everybody's going through the kind of same challenges. Doesn't matter whether you're a small organization or a Fortune 500 company. So what is the most common misconception you hear about AI ready data?
Yeah, well, I think a lot of companies will think, any data, you put that into AI and it's going to fix everything for you. But one of the common phrases that we hear a lot, it's all about the data quality. Rubbish in gives you rubbish out as well, So the data has got to be of a high standard to make AI work for you. I think some of my statistics earlier on were showing you, vast majority of AI projects will fail, and it's due to the poor data quality score, So you have good data, we can make the AI journey a lot more successful. But quality of data is vitally important before you make that first step.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. So obviously we've only got a few minutes left on the webinar today. So if anybody does have any other questions that they would like to ask Stephen, then please do pop them into the chat just now. Equally, we will be more than happy to facilitate the introductions to Stephen as well if anybody wants to pick up conversations offline. If nobody is typing just now, then I do have one last question that I would like to ask,
Yes,
if
Nick?
nobody else wants to take that in. So you obviously talked about kind of trusted data there, and I know you kept things kind of quite high level, but what is your kind of definition then of trusted data? What does that look like?
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, we've got a lot of businesses working at the enterprise level. A lot of the largest companies have got data. They've got their own projects. They use different tools. So I think having the one true source of data for the whole business is really is key for this.
Yeah,
I think that having the right products in place and we find a lot of different units, different business units will work in different parts of the globe, and they'll use different tools
yeah,
to pull their data together. I think enhancing this and making it uniform is really the way forward. Erwin Data Modeler and Erwin Data Intelligence will bring data from various platforms, and we can pull it all together, and it will give you a clearer understanding of the data. So again, that's something I could certainly show in a little bit more detail, if we get any further requirements on that front there.
okay, no problem. Thank you. So I think we've probably got time to sneak in this one last question before
Yes.
we close out the webinar. So if you could only change one thing in a legacy stack to unlock AI, what would it be?
Oh, that's a very good question there. Well, I think a lot of the older legacy stacks are, as I mentioned, they're not ready for AI. I'd like to make sure that the data layer is modeled, governed, and trusted. Um, Without that, AI is really just guessing. So I think if we get the data right at the start, it makes the whole journey a lot smoother.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you very much, Stephen. Thank you everybody for joining us for today's session. We hope that you got a lot out of that. The session obviously has been recorded and we will share the recording with you. And we are more than happy to facilitate introductions to Stephen as well, should anybody wish to pick up and have a deeper conversation. Thank you very much for joining us today. We will close the session off here, but like I say, if anybody does have any follow-up questions or would like an introduction to Stephen, we are more than happy to facilitate that for you, and we will share the recording with you once that is ready. Thank you everybody for joining us today, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Nick. Thank you.